Flying rats, some call them. Their cousins, though, are athletes of the sky. And for many, they are the subjects of a lifetime's devotion.
Oh, it's everything to me. It's my hobby.
First comes the pigeons, then the wife, then the house.
and a lot of trouble with wife.
Exactly.
A working man's sport it might well be, but it attracts all sorts. And in the 2 world wars, Britain's racing pigeons won dozens of medals and saved thousands of lives. But now, that's all under threat.
Mr. Speaker, I rise on behalf of the pigeon fanciers of Croydon and the nation as a whole. Was she concerned, as I was, to discover that pigeon racing clubs are not exempt from the business rates? Shocking. This is a magnificent sport with a winner of the Powell Grand National, a bird called Pauline, coming from my constituency. As horse racing and polo is exempt, will she join with me in the campaign to fight the pigeon tax?
And he's right. In November last year, the government introduced a new bill amending Part 3 of the Local Government Finance Act. Part of its remit was to rejuvenate town centres, and so it increased tax on empty commercial property. Now, because pigeon racing is classified as a hobby and not a sport, these taxes apply to the humble sheds where pigeon racers store their baskets on race day. The rates have skyrocketed, some by as much as 600%, leaving many small clubs on the brink of closure. But what can be done?
Mr. Speaker, I'm very tempted indeed. I can tell the honourable gentleman that the very first Labour Party meeting I ever went to many, many years ago was in the back room of a pub called the Dungeon Inn. And as I sat down in my seat with 6 men with flat caps, feathers rose up from either side of me. And then I found out that on a Tuesday evening, the Pigeon Club met in the same pub. So I'm very tempted to join the honourable gentleman and I will look at the rules for the business rates and see if perhaps we might get together with Pauline and get something, maybe a campaign that really will fly.
Well, looking at she has. And that campaign is not flying anywhere. In this letter to a newly out-of-pocket pigeon fancier of Berwick-upon-Tweed, Miss Blears explains that for pigeon racing clubs to be eligible for rate relief, they must be registered as a sports club with Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. Not a straightforward process, as we found out. And even then, the rate relief is a matter for individual local authorities and not something in which central government has a role. So what does this mean for one of Britain's oldest pastimes? Let's go and find out. I know the best place to start.
The very first Labour Party meeting I ever went to many years ago was in the back room of a pub called the Dungeon Inn. And as I sat down in my seat with 6 men with flat caps, feathers rose up from either side of me, and then I found out...
Yes, hey Brian.
Are we talking pigeons?
Yeah, oh well, as usual.
Yes.
Don't you think it's strange that Hazel Blears was here 30 years ago for her first Labour meeting, and now she's on a bit of legislation, you know, going to take a lot of money from pigeon racing?
I think some of these legislation come about, they don't really think about it, do they? You know, it's enclose all sorts of things, and they just pick up on pigeons. You know.
We should be appealing. We should put her in a shop, really. We should have a spokesman to face up to Hazel Blears.
So how might your club be affected by the business rates?
Oh, it'd be devastating. Most of us are all old age pensioners.
So you don't think you'll see her walk through the door in a minute?
I don't think so.
I don't think she did.
Certainly welcome, eh?
Oh, they would, yeah.
They'll all be buying a drink, all right.
Okay, guys, I better get going.
Yeah, nice to see you again.
Yeah, nice
to see you again. Very nice.
Bye.
Bye now. Bye. Don't forget when you come again, fetch Hazel Blaze with you.
He's not wrong. I went to meet a man and his shed at the centre of the argument. It cost him £300 last year, this year £2,000. How's this new business tax going to affect the club?
Well, if it had just been a small club, it's just actually more money that we've got to pay amongst ourselves. In the long term, after a few years, you're going to be paying maybe £1,000, which has just come out of your pocket.
So in your opinion, pigeon racing is a sport?
It definitely is a sport. It can't be classed as anything else. We've got to look after the welfare of the birds. We've got to train them. You cannot just go into a pigeon loft and send it away 300 miles and expect it to come back.
And while some clubs struggle to stay in the air, others have already been shot down. In the heart of the Lake District, one set of racing pigeons have been forced to fly the nest.
Well, in the case of our little club here, we've been paying the business rate of about £92, and suddenly last year being 206, 207, that went from £92 to £470. But unfortunately, the rate system is quite astronomical for our members, and it looks as though we're going to have to part with this little club and move elsewhere.
Well, the baskets are open, and this Westminster problem is flying home. Nice to meet you, Hazel.
It's lovely to be here.
Cool. I've got a letter here that you've written. You're sent up north to Eric Sims, and in it you say that you don't think getting pigeon racing recognised as a sport to be a matter for central government. Do you still think that's true?
Well, the criteria as to whether something is a sport or not is set by Sport England. It is important that there are proper definitions, and obviously Sport England is the specialist body, so they have to decide the criteria.
Sport England take their definition of what is a sport from the European Sports Charter, and other countries such as France and Belgium don't use this definition, and they recognise pigeon racing as a sport. So why do we follow this directive when they don't?
Well, obviously things are different in different countries. Our definition is around physical activity, because obviously one of the things we really want to encourage is people to get involved in sport, to get fit, to improve their own health, but also about getting involved in your community. And I think that this, should be a matter for consideration between government, the pigeon racers, Sport England, and they've raised the issue. And I think we need to look at what they're saying.
Now, if pigeon racing were recognised sport, then this tax wouldn't apply to it, just like it doesn't for local tennis, golf and football clubs. But for that to happen, it'll have to meet the definition set out by Sport England. Sport England take their definition from the Council of Europe's European Sports Charter. And it reads, all forms of physical activity which through casual or organised participation aim at expressing or improving physical fitness and well-being and forming social relationships. Well, through this definition, Sport England recognises over 150 sports. Physical fitness, they say, let's go and try some out. Darts. Angling. Model aircraft flying. But not pigeon racing. We wrote to Sport England to find out why. Sadly, they declined to speak to us, but they do claim, to date, we have received no application from the official pigeon racing body. I'm in Surrey to speak to a man who knows a bit about sport and a bit about pigeons, and he doesn't agree.
Now it's Jerry Francis. Shannon's continued with his run. Francis doesn't need him.
Hello, Jerry.
Hi.
So how does pigeon racing compare to football as a sport?
Well, funnily enough, there's a lot of similarities, really. I think you have a squad of players and you have a squad of racing pigeons, and you have to get them fit and feed them the right food. look after them from a dietary point of view as well. And like football, I've been in the sport all my life.
Why do you think Sport England doesn't recognise pigeon racing as a sport when other national bodies do?
I don't know really, I don't understand that. You would have to ask them, but I mean, already in this country we are members of the CCPR, which is the Central Council for Physical Recreation. You know, they've got 150,000 sports clubs. We're recognised up there with the likes of football, cricket, rugby, tennis. We would really like to ask them again to, if we put another application in, to really consider it. Certainly I think that if we were to be recognised by Sport England, it would give us a great opportunity to grow again.
Well, I went to see the man at the forefront of that battle, and it's one he's fought before, whatever Sport England might say. Have you made any formal applications to Sport England about the classification of pigeon racing?
We have. We go right back to 1999 and 2000 when we made approaches to Sport England, Sport UK, and on both occasions these were turned down.
We've been told by Sport England that they've in fact received no applications from any official pigeon racing body. What do you say to that?
Well, here we have correspondence from Derek Casey, their chief executive. This is dated 1999, so you're welcome to take this away with you and you know, just see what they have to say.
Well, I put all this to Sport England and asked them to meet with us again, but I've had no response. So I think I better pop on over there with a couple of gifts given to us from Peter and the rest of the RPRA. Hi, can I speak to Richard Clarkson, please? I want to talk to you about pigeon racing. So we've just asked to see Richard Clarkson at Sport England, but he's not at his desk. So we're going to wait another couple of minutes and see if he returns to see us. We were told that Richard Clarkson was not at Sport England today. We hung around for a bit, but no one could tell us where he was. They said that they didn't know much about the topic either, so we were then asked to leave. So no response from Sport England.
Certainly I think that if we were to be recognised by Sport England.
And they've raised the issue, and you know, I think we need to look at what they're saying.
Will she join with me in the campaign to fight the pigeon tax?